welcome back to the farm. If you're new here, my name is Nina. I'm a homesteading mom of 4, ages 8 down to 4, and I am married to Daniel. And here on my channel, I talk all about homeschooling, homesteading, and homemaking. Today's video is a collaboration with Valerie at our homeschool castle, and we're talking all about why we homeschool year-round and what our schedule looks like and kind of all the things that are wrapped into year-round homeschooling. So if you're coming over from her channel or one of the other moms' channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. So I'm just going to kind of tell you why we chose to homeschool year-round and what our schedule looked like last year and kind of talk you through some of the changes that we're going to make for this year. So let's dive right in. All right. So last year, I guess it was last summer, towards about this time last year, it was. I was trying to start thinking about what the new school year was going to look like, what our schedule wanted to be. I kind of followed a traditional school schedule, and I knew that that just was not working for us. Whenever we would take long breaks, my son would forget a lot of things. He would get out of routine, and I was watching Abby at Rooted and Rest, and she was talking about how she year-round homeschool and how that had just worked really well for her family. So I was like, maybe that might work for us. And then I have some local homeschool moms that do the same thing, and so I reached out to them and talked to them about how they liked it, and they said it worked really well for their family, and they were able to kind of school when they needed to, and when life got really busy and hectic and crazy, they were able to kind of stop, take a breather, and then pick school back up when they got to where they could do that. So those were the things that intrigued me about that, and the Lord knew that we needed to do year-round homeschooling this year because he knew that we didn't have a plan. He had a plan of moving us. And so if you've been around here for the last couple of months, you've watched some of my other videos, you know that we just went through a big move in our family, and we are still in the works of getting adjusted to that. Hence the reason why I'm sitting on the floor, on the mattress, with stuff behind me, and sitting and doing this video. So our house is still trying to get back in order and trying to bring everything back to ground zero. But anyway, so I think that was the nudge that I was feeling, and I am so thankful that God called us to do that this year, that we would have the space and the time and not feel like we're being rushed, that we could slow down during the time when things were getting busy and focus more on personal life things. And then when they're not so busy, then we could focus on school as well. So as usual, I think I need to plan out everything and have everything planned out. So last summer I was like, oh, I've heard of Sabbath schooling. So if you haven't heard of that, that is where you school for 6 weeks, you take a week off, you school for 6 weeks, and you take a week off. And you do that throughout your school year. So here in the state of Georgia, we are required to teach 180 days and 4 hours of instruction for those 180 days. And then you're required to teach 5 subjects: math, science, English, reading, social studies. I think that's it. And then test every couple of years. So that's what our state laws are. Now, you don't have to turn anything into the state. You don't have to keep any attendance. So you're just kind of required as the teacher to kind of keep up with that for yourself. I'm assuming if any point in time they want to ask for it, they could. If anything come up, you probably needed to keep that on hand, but you're not required to. So we kind of can start the school year whenever we want to and kind of end the school year whenever we want to. I think you have to have your declaration of intent, if I remember correctly, filed by September the 1st. So as long as we are rolling by September the 1st for that current school year, you are okay in the state of Georgia. So I was like, okay, cool. So we'll just do 6 weeks on and 6 weeks off. We usually take a vacation in August. So I planned it so we would start and have 6 weeks under our belt before we took a vacation in August. So we took that vacation, I think it was the 3rd week of August last year. Yes. And see, I planned it. Sorry, the sun is awful right now. But I planned it so the weeks that are highlighted are the weeks that we took breaks on. And that worked really well for the first semester. Then life happened, and yeah, we haven't done school in about 6 weeks. But my original plan was to do 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, and do 3 6-week periods in the first semester. And then we would take 6 weeks at Christmas, because Christmas is always really busy for us. So we would take 6 weeks at Christmas, and then we were going to come back in January, and we were going to do 3 6-week terms, and then take a week in between each one of those. And I'll show this to you in just a minute. And then we were going to take 6 weeks in the summer off. That schedule did not work very well for us. It worked well for probably the first semester. It was really nice to have that long break at Christmas. And then it was January worked really well. And then we decided to start the moving, putting our house on the market and moving process. And then once that we got through that, then we've since have kind of stopped schooling. But that is the great thing about the flexibility that year-round homeschooling gives you, is whenever life gets chaotic, you have big important things going on in your life, you can take a break. Nobody's holding you to this schedule that you made, unless you just happen to be type A like me and wants to get it all done the way I planned it out to be. But nobody's holding you to this. So that kind of, sorry, the sun is a little weird right now, but that kind of shows you. So we did 6 weeks, took a break, 6 weeks, took a break, 6 weeks, took a really big break, and then came back and did the same thing. So what really happened, like I said, through the first semester, worked really good. And we took some trips, and so that kind of, I had to shift things around. So that kind of messed some things up. And then moving messed some things up. What's going to happen as far as getting us back on track for this year, and then what's going to happen for next school year, I haven't laid it completely out yet, but what my plan is to do is, once I get through the month of May, so if you have not watched my May goals video, I'll pop a card here. So my big goal for May is to have our house completely unpacked, all the major renovations done on the inside, and kind of have our life back in order so that we can start June kind of fresh and new. And so June, what we're going to do is we are going to probably school 2 to 3 times a week on the main subject areas of language arts and math. So what we're going to do is, and then probably start our next school year, the 2nd or 3rd week in July. So that's kind of what my plan is for the summer, is to finish out the school year in June, and then start the new school year in the 2nd week of July. So for the first 2 weeks of July, we'll have those off of school. And then for the first couple of weeks of July, of our first couple of weeks of school in July, is only doing maybe a 3 or 4 day school, only doing half of school that day, and just kind of slowly getting back into the process of school, figuring out new curriculum, because we are changing a lot of stuff for next year, figuring out the new curriculum, and then like really hitting it hard after we get back from vacation in August. And not so much of having a set, we're going to do 6 weeks and then take a break, but mostly do kind of school for a couple of weeks, take breaks when needed, and not so much, and keep it more fluid, because my brain and me personally wants to know like what the set schedule is, but I've found that my kids work better when I keep a consistent schedule of school going and not take really big breaks at a time, but kind of like weave our breaks in throughout the school year. So maybe not take full weeks, or just take a couple of days whenever we need to, or we might still take 3 or 4 weeks at Christmas, and then I'm hoping to have us completely finished with school by mid by early to mid-May of next year. We're kind of playing it by ear. It just all depends on what next year throws at us. We're going to be building a house, and so we will probably have all of that stuff going on as well, and there's no telling what is going to happen that we'll need to take breaks off of school, because any homeschool mom will know you can do something. I am this way. I'm sure everybody else is, but I can either do homeschool really, really well, or our house looks really, really great as far as keeping homemaking done, or I can homestead really, really well. But I can't do all three of them at the same time really, really well. So it's always like an ebb and flow. Something is kind of like on the back burner, something's like getting my full attention, and something's kind of teetering there in the middle, and it rotates throughout the year and the seasons of life that we're in on how things kind of get done. But anyway, that's just kind of a glimpse at kind of like what I'm thinking for next year is to kind of start the school year slow in July, get the kids back on a routine of school, really work on those routines the first couple of weeks, and not really work on like curriculum we have to get done, and figuring out a good flow, because I feel like every year for the first 6 to 8 weeks I am trying to get our schedules down, because this year we're going to add in a new kid. Benjamin will be doing some pre-K/kindergarten stuff, so we're going to have to figure out the dynamic of being in a different place and also adding in a new kid, and see how all of that's going to mesh together and flow together really well along with our life, and throwing that in. So that is the bonus of year-round homeschooling, and that is also a curse about year-round homeschooling, because it never stops. It just keeps going, and we're kind of gonna roll out of one curriculum kind of into another one, and wherever we get at the end of June is kind of where we're gonna stop. And so if we don't finish language arts at the end of June, we'll pick that back up in the middle of July and start that off for the next year. And then when he finished, whoever, Jameson or Liliana or Amelia, whenever they finish that book, I have the next one purchased, and we'll roll right into it. So our kids always really have a hard time of telling somebody what grade they're in, because they may be working on 3rd grade stuff. They may be working on 2nd grade stuff. They may be working on 4th grade. We don't know. It's just kind of at their level. But I'm not really sure if that helps any as far as how I plan out my school year, but the biggest thing is to kind of have it mapped out, but yet be able to take breaks when we can, and not be so rigid to our schedule, and so that, when life happens, you don't feel frustrated or feel behind because you weren't following your plan. So I had this hanging over my head all year going, we didn't take that break, or we didn't school this week. So I'm going to try to be a little more flexible next year with our year-round homeschool, and try to make school more of our way of life, and not so much of like, oh, we need to do school, but weave school into our life, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how we're going to do it for 2021 and 2022. It's crazy to me that I said a lot of 20s in there, but as always, guys, we're so thankful that you continue to hang out with us from week to week, and we hope that you get some encouragement, and maybe just see that life is real here. We are like any other family. There's nothing really special about us. We are doing life just alongside you, and we hope that you find some comfort in that each week when you visit us on our YouTube channel. If you have not done so already, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and let us know that you like our content. And we'll catch you in another video real soon, and we hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye, guys.